Hi, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections, and today I'm going to show you what happened to the anode rod on my water heater after 1 year. Yeah, so if you go back 1 year on my channel, you'll see I talked about replacing my point of use 2.5 gallon Bosch water heater. It was the one that went underneath my kitchen sink. I put it there so I could get hot water instantly at my kitchen faucet. The thing sprang a leak, and then I replaced it, and then it leaked again after just 2.5 years. And I ended up going back to Bosch and I said, hey, I hope it's covered under warranty, hook me up. They said, yeah, no problem, we'll take care of you. Just send us a photo of your anode rod. And I took the whole thing apart and I pulled out the guts of it to take a picture of the anode rod. There was nothing left. So they said, no anode rod equals no warranty. You read the fine print in their warranty and they say that you need to inspect the anode rod at least once a year and you need to replace it at least once every 2 years. And so I thought, boy, this is crazy. All right, I ended up replacing the water heater, but I put down a calendar event for myself to check on this rod 1 year later. And I guess that was a mistake. I should have checked on it 6 months later because I uninstalled it. All right, here's the steps. I started by unplugging the thing, shut off the water supply, disconnected the water lines, and at that point it's uninstalled. So pulled it out from underneath my kitchen sink, dumped it upside down, drained all the water out of there, and then I took it apart. You gotta pop off this little cover, you gotta remove this little screw, and then you pull off the entire cover. Then you remove a bunch of 10mm nuts from the heater assembly, and then you can pull the entire heater assembly out of there, and at that point you've got access to the anode rod. Now you look carefully at this photo and you're probably going, what anode rod? And my point is, exactly. It's been 1 year to date, October 1st, 2023 to October 1st, 2024. Okay, it's been a year and a day, you got me, but very close. And this is what was left. I pulled it out of there. Look at that. There's nothing left. My anode rod is gone. This is basically a wire stick. It looks like a little incense stick. When it's new, the anode rod looks like this. Here, let me hold the two up for comparison. We got this big, I think it's made out of magnesium, maybe it's aluminum. I don't know what, I think it's aluminum. Whatever it is, it's a sacrificial stick of metal that's designed to deteriorate so that the tank does not. The whole purpose of this thing is to sit and deteriorate away until it looks like this. But really, I should have replaced it when it was about half gone. That's what they say. Once it's about 50% gone, that's when it's time for replacement. What's left here is the little wire rod in the middle. And I went in there to take this thing out to replace it. I went to unscrew it. I got my vice grips. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get in there. It looks like it's all rusted in there. I barely touched it with the vice grips and it just kind of fell out. And I thought, oh great, I'm never gonna be able to thread the new one in. But thankfully, it did thread in. It threaded in just fine. Just you can see we got some little machine threads on here. It went right into place and I was able to put everything back together. It wasn't that much work. And now I have I have a good anode rod on my water heater. I've got this extra one here because I ordered a couple of them at the time that I ordered my water heater last time. And I was able to put everything back together, turn on the kitchen faucet with the water turned back on. The thing filled. The second it got filled with water and water started coming out of the kitchen faucet, the water flow petered down to just a tiny little pencil width. And I went, what the heck? I stood and stared at it for a minute. And then I realized, oh, it's all that sediment that was draining out of the drain valve. It finally pushed its way up. It went through my faucet and it completely clogged my faucet. So I took my faucet apart. Sure enough, right behind the aerator, it's just completely nasty. Rinsed all that out, put it back together, and now we're good. Everything's working again. So now I set a calendar event for myself to check this out in 6 months. I'm making this video because I said I would follow up and I'd show you what it looked like a year later. But now I guess we'll figure out what it looks like 6 months from now. The one other part to this is it made me really curious about what the anode rod on my whole house 50-gallon power vent water heater looks like. I've only had it installed for a few years, but boy, if this other one went that fast, what does my main one look like? I need to get at that thing. I tried getting access to the anode rod on my water heater many years ago, and I got my biggest socket wrench on there, and I put a pipe on the end of the wrench because I couldn't move it, and I really cranked on that thing, and then the water lines on my water heater started twisting. I had solid copper water lines coming in there. And I said, okay, enough of that. I'm never replacing the anode rod. But recently I was talking to a plumber friend of mine, and he was talking about how important it is to do this and how it's good maintenance to do. I said, how the heck do you get that thing out? He said, we use an electric impact driver. They don't even attempt to use a battery-powered impact driver. I've got an impact wrench. I own an 18-volt Milwaukee impact driver, and I had no luck getting that thing to budge. But he said they use an electric impact wrench. So I might have to get my hands on one, and I'll do another test. We'll see what it looks like, and I'll put a new anode rod in my water heater, whether it needs replacement or not. Because if I'm going to go to the work to opening it all up, I'm just going to replace it at that time. That's all I got for you today. This is basically a follow-up video. I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech. Thanks for watching. Take care.